Hello, welcome to Showing Vietnam from NETVIET VTC10. I'm Phương Liên speaking. I'm standing in the conference entitled Mining 2012 in Vietnam, and this time there is a delegation of 19 Australian enterprises come to Vietnam to join the exhibition. So now we will spend time looking through all of the galleries of the Australian companies here and find the guests for Showing Vietnam today. So let's follow me. Mining Vietnam 2012 is the inaugural Vietnam edition of ongoing exhibition foremost and highly acclaimed Mining Indonesia Trade Exhibition and Conference, which will be staged for the 15th time in 2011, converging 558 exhibit companies from 29 countries and over 11,579 industry visitors over some 19,500 meters of exhibition space, backed by a solid and proven track record in state-effective industry event, both for the industry in Vietnam. Over exhibition, Vietnam will partner Vietnam's emerging mining and mineral recovery industry, staging Mining Vietnam 2012 from the 7th to the 9th of March 2012 at the International Center for Exhibition, Cultural Palace, Vietnam. Nice to meet you. As I introduce to you, I'm Phương Liên from VTC10, and today NETVIET will be here to have a short discussion with you. And can I call you Murray?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So Murray, you share that this is your first visit to Vietnam. So what is your first impression of Vietnam?
Very good. I'm very pleased that I've come to visit Vietnam. I've always wanted to come here, and I think it has a lot of potential for our products.
So entering Vietnam for the first time, can you point out some differences between the climate or geography between Vietnam and your home country, Australia?
Yes, look, the climate is different, but not that dissimilar. We do a lot of work in Asia, so we're quite used to the climate. But
first of all, could you introduce to the audience Showing Vietnam a bit about your company profile, the Rotainer?
Yes, okay. Rotainer was developed due to a request of our clients in Australia. A lot of small miners have come online and want to export quantities between 1 and 3 million tonnes, and not having access to major operations such as BHP, Rio Tinto and so forth. We were asked to develop a system that could integrate with normal infrastructure or standard infrastructure such as container terminals. And the Rotainer now turns a standard shipping container terminal into a bulk ore loader with very minimal infrastructure because they already own the equipment. So for a small amount of money you can start shipping bulk products via ships.
So are you seeking for the partner in Vietnam or want to introduce your technology in Vietnam?
Well, I want to introduce it to the Vietnamese market, and the reason is there's a lot of mines. I do get a lot of inquiry from established mines that are currently operating in Vietnam, and I think that there's been a lot of shipping and container terminals built recently throughout Vietnam with joint ventures of a number of major companies, and this will enhance and start to generate revenue for everyone involved.
So your company mainly based in Australia, so this time do you intend in the near future, maybe not at this time, in the coming time to open a branch in Vietnam?
Yes, eventually. It's a very specialised piece of equipment to make, but we'll look for agents or some sort of relationship with a local company for support, backup, spare parts and so forth.
And we'll know that this is an annual exhibition with Australian Embassy to Vietnam held every year. So how do you view about this exhibition this year?
Oh, it's good. Yeah, look, I think it's good and it will grow, and there's no doubt about it, as more and more companies start to expand and the mining boom in Vietnam increases. No doubt these shows always will increase. It's a shame that I couldn't put a working model on a ship and send it over, but it's a very expensive operation for a 3-day exhibition.
Vietnam is considered as a potential country of minerals, including metallic minerals, ferrous metal, precious metal, non-metallic mineral, some mineral material, gemstone, material construction, mineral burning like coal, oil, gas, fire and ice, in which many minerals with large resources. According to experts, the mineral in Vietnam has an important role in economic development, the impulse in important industries. Vietnam is very rich for the mining resources. How do you think about the resources in Vietnam?
That's fantastic. So that's why I'm here, to do business.
And one more thing, in Vietnam, do not have the modern technology to adapt or to explore in the mining industry. How do you view about the current mining industry in Vietnam?
Well, again, it's part of the system. Containerization is the way forward. You can put your product in, put a lid on it, seal it. It can be stored for months at a time near the ship or the terminal, waiting for a ship to arrive. Once there's the appropriate volume, then you can call in the equipment, load the ship in 2 or 3 days, send off and then start again. One of the major features is there's no stockpiles or pollution. And in Australia now, pollution and around the world, especially with toxic products and the harm they cause to the environment, are looking for a more efficient, more safer way to move forward. And by containerising, it's a very cheap way to have a stockpile ready for shipping.
I can see that today you bring a lot of Thai products to Vietnam, a lot of containers. So first of all, can you introduce a bit about the kinds of container?
Yeah, well, here is the Rotainer. This is 3 different models. This one is suitable for a 1.8 high metre container, which suits iron ore and a low value product. This one is a system we recently introduced into Thailand for sugar, and and we designed that container especially for high volume. Sugar's very light. They wanted to get 25,000 tonnes in per shipload, and we had to do it in 2 or 3 days, so we developed a container for them. And the one on the bottom is one for copper concentrates. It's a very sticky product. It doesn't flow, so we've designed up a special container to suit.
Could you explain in detail about the operation, how to use this container in Vietnam?
Okay, well, this is just a general half-height container with an open top. It's loaded at the mine via a loader or conveyor belt. It's then transported down by truck or rail, whatever system's in place, and then it's just stored, and the Rotainer just comes on, picks it up like a traditional container, and then it has the ability to rotate at 360 degrees.
And which types of 3 containers are the most suitable for Vietnamese condition?
Look, I think the Rotainer to start with, because if a company already has a container or there's containers already here in existence, okay, we can work with that and make sure that we can rotate them so that, again, the expenditure is minimal other than buying a Rotainer.
We all know that Australia is very famous for mining industry with the modern technology. And Vietnam have very rich in the mining resources, but have not the modern technology. So what do you think about adapt or application this technology in Vietnam?
Look, it's a stepping stone, and we're very sophisticated in Australia, but we can make simpler models for the Asian market, where this is fully computerised. We can make a simpler version so that the technical support teams on the ground can actually service them without being locked into OEMs or, and most of the componentry we source from a local supplier. For example, if one of our clients in Vietnam said we want one, we'd have a look around the web, see who the suppliers are, and we'll build it using components that are sourced locally. And on a global market, it's not difficult these days.
As you mentioned, nowadays there are a lot of companies from all over the world are interested in Vietnamese mining industry, and especially the China. So can you distinguish or point out some of the special features to distinguish your company from Australia with the other companies in the world?
Yeah, well, a lot of the companies that I deal with, I get inquiries, have joint ventures already with Vietnamese mining companies. So there is a synergy already in place where, they will look for what's happening in Australia and where the standards are moving and the most efficient way to do it, and obviously they want to then introduce that into their partner mines, which again is Vietnam, many other countries around the world. So, yeah.
Yeah, most certainly. Some of the aspects and the approaches that we take are certainly from a safety perspective, and that safety perspective comes into the environmental as well. We're very conscious of ensuring the spill kits are supplied. There's clean-up facilities and processes and procedures to ensure that the impact of the environment is done at a minimal aspect, that's for sure.
So what Vietnam needs to do, because of its economic development, is to learn from other countries which have experienced these issues. Australia, but not just Australia, other developed countries have very strong regulations about environmental protection and about environmental rehabilitation. If you dig a mine is a big hole in the ground. So you're going to disturb the environment, but you can put in safeguards to repair that afterwards. So really Vietnam needs to look at that foreign expertise and employ the best companies in the world to offer assistance.
That's what I responded with. The use of most modern technologies for environmental protection is the most efficient way of maintaining their interests economically with the requirements of ecology and the future use of the land.
One of the more important things is about the protection of the environment. So avoid the pollution. We can use some of the modern technology to avoid pollution in Vietnam. So can you share more about the method or the policy to protect environment in Vietnam currently?
Yeah, look, I'm not sure, because I haven't been my first visit to Vietnam. But no doubt a lot of the countries or companies, that have partnerships use Australian or world's best practice, and this is world's best practice, and countries like Vietnam will have to move up to that level to play on the global field. No doubt about that.
And this time you bring here some of the modern technology which can protect the environment as well. So could you introduce more of the operation detail of this technology in protecting the environment?
Okay, well basically, for example, if it's copper concentrate, it can be loaded at the mine, in an enclosed shed, for example. A lid can go on, the lid is then sealed and locked. The container is then transported via rail or road, and it's completely sealed, so no dust emissions and so forth and so forth. And when it's ready to be loaded, pick the container up with the lid on, take it down inside the shipped hold, remove the lid and rotate it. And then we also have a watering system that then sprays out what we call a mist, so that any dust that does want to rise, it then becomes moist and then doesn't move outside of the particular environment that it's supposed to be.
And the last question is that how could you view the future of mining industry in Vietnam?
I think it's got a very big future, and as I said, my aim now is to focus on this Southeast Asian region for my products, and I do see a big future. There's no doubt about that.
Cảm ơn biên tập viên Phương Liên và ông Murray về những chia sẻ hết sức thú vị vừa rồi. Còn bây giờ chúng ta sẽ cùng quay trở lại với biên tập viên Khánh Long để đến với câu chuyện hội nhập ngày hôm nay.
Cảm ơn biên tập viên Hà Phương. Thưa quý vị và các bạn, với tổng diện tích hơn 7.800 ha cùng sự tham gia của hơn 6.400 hộ nông dân trong lần thí điểm đầu tiên tại vụ lúa đông xuân 2011, cánh đồng mẫu lớn được coi là một cải tiến rất lớn của ngành nông nghiệp Việt Nam. Mô hình này là bước đi hiệu quả để thực hiện tốt việc áp dụng khoa học kỹ thuật tiên tiến một cách đồng bộ, rút ngắn khoảng cách chênh lệch về năng suất giữa các hộ nông dân, các thửa ruộng hay vùng sản xuất. Qua đó nâng cao năng suất bình quân toàn vùng, làm nền tảng cho việc sản xuất lúa theo tiêu chuẩn Việt Gáp.